buddy that they got along with. So generally the first year is softer, but it really varies by dogs. The most aggressive dog I ever saw was under 6 months. So really, some dogs are kind of unique. And I definitely see that in class, that it kind of varies by each dog. Okay, that's more about how, actually I want to go back. In the people part, that's really, to me, the most important part. If you break it into the 3 things you want to socialize them with, it has to be, they have to bond with the family and handling. Handling's a big issue. I get that over and over and over again. Positive associations with being handled by people because we move differently than dogs. I get that over and over. So they have to bond with people. The dogs that have a lot of trouble are the dogs that haven't had really any experience with people in the first few months. So they really, people are kind of alien to them and they're very frightened of them. And those dogs do, it's much harder to work with them. You have to be really patient. Those can be your puppy mill dogs, your dogs that were tied out to a doghouse, or came from a cruelty. I'm working with one of those right now. That can really affect the rest of their lives. Those are usually the toughest ones. What happens more frequently is they've had some experience with people, but they haven't had a lot of stranger experience. So you need a lot of good experience with strangers, and that includes babies, toddlers, younger children. To dogs, those all seem to be separate things. I've seen dogs that have never seen a child. The instant reaction is terror. It's like they think they're aliens from another planet. So this is kind of really where their world is formed, and everything else that comes after it can be very frightening if they weren't exposed to it. The other thing that causes phobias and big fears is sensory things. Surfaces. Again, you'll see a lot of the dogs are afraid of stairs, slippery floors, that haven't had a lot of gotten out into the world during these first 3 months. Sounds, sirens. I've seen dogs that were bred in the country go live in the city and now they're terrified and they won't even go out the front door because it's all foreign to them. Because their world was made up of crickets and trees, and I'm sure it could go the other way too. The crickets are scary. So that's a biggie. And I also saw a dog that the breeder never took them outside. Can you imagine? We wouldn't expect a child to be very normal if they were never taken outside. That dog actually, I think, is doing pretty well. It's a nice, friendly dog. Went through puppy class and everything, which is good, which is probably why it's doing well now. But it really has a problem learning. There's really that sensory deprivation. You think about when we learn things and our brain grows and we learn how to learn, it's during those things you need to be exposed to new things to learn. And then good social experience with other dogs is very important too. And those are the 3 biggies that people have problems with, is all of those. When I see dogs that have gone through puppy and then gone to basic and then they've gone to basic 2 and they basically spent the first 2 years of life going to class and they've learned how to socialize them outside of class, the difference between those dogs is radical. I'll go back.